Hello, and welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well. As you can tell by the title of today's video, this is my second knitting podcast, and I'm talking about a few knitty things, a few sewing, quilting things, and I think that's it. I don't have too much to talk about today, so let's just jump on in. I'll start with what I'm wearing, which is, if I'm looking down, I have my notes like underneath the camera. This is the Yoon sweater by November Knits, and I knit mine in a size 3. It's this really lovely long sleeve sweater with like this chunky, it's a 2x2 rib, I think, and then it's got 2x2 rib on the bottom and like a split hem. But I knit this last like summer, fall. I think I finished it around this time last year. And I knit mine in Barocco Ariel, held with Valley Yarns Westfield, I think is what it's called. I will put the fiber content info on the screen if you are curious. But I think they were both in the color navy, and it's just made this really beautiful, lovely sweater or fabric. It's like a little silky. I think the Valley Yarns Ariel might have a little silk in it. I could be wrong. But it has like a little silky, shiny sheeniness to it, a beautiful halo from the mohair, and it has held up so well. I am so surprised at how well this sweater has held up, and it's pilled a little bit. I've had to, de-pill it a few times, and it, you can see there's some pilling on it. Like I think you can see over here, I have some pilling. Can you see there? But that's I think in the spot where it's really expected. It's the part of my arm that rubs against the sweater. So yeah, but I would say overall I'm really pleased with this. This sweater was so much fun to knit. I want to knit another one in kind of like a mustardy yellow. I think would be really pretty. I used to have a mustard yellow turtleneck that I loved, or I'm trying to see if I have anything around me. That's the color I'm thinking. Like a fawn kind of creamy OD color. With more of a turtleneck, I think would be really nice. Like a folded over turtleneck could be pretty. So that's something I would love to do someday. I don't have plans for it anytime soon, but just a thought. But yes, if you wanted to knit the Yoon sweater ever, I would highly, highly, highly recommend it. I loved knitting this, and I think it turned out fantastic. So yes, that's what I'm wearing today. Not a finished object or anything recently, about a year ago. But yeah, I think one of my most worn hand knit items. So I wanted to share that. And I guess we'll get into my finished objects. Well, actually, before I start, I have 2 knit finished objects and 2.5 sewn or quilted finished objects. So I'll put the timestamps on the screen in case you want to skip that part. Not offended, totally understand if you're just here for knitting, or if you want to skip just to the sewn or sewing parts, I guess I'll put that here too. But I'm going to start with my 2 knitted finished objects, and the first is the Ivy Top by Petite Knit, and here it is. Is this the right way? Yes. Can you see it? I hope you can see it. So this is my Ivy Top by Petite Knit. I knit mine in Issachar Trio 2, which is... Oh, gosh, I can never remember the fiber makeup, but it's in the color ink. Again, I'll include the details on the screen. I knit mine in the color ink, and it is this really lovely tank top with kind of a high-ish neck. I don't know. I feel like it's not going to show up too well on camera, so I'll insert pictures. But it has kind of a high-ish neck, and it has these really nice shoulder shaping details that I really love, and I thought it was super fun to do. There's some short row shaping around the neck. You knit the front and back flat, then join in the round and just knit in the round all the way until the end. And this was a super easy project and a very good mindless knit. I really like the pattern. I think I've said this before, and I think everyone knows all Petite Knit patterns are pretty straightforward and easy. At least all of the stockinette ones that I've done. I haven't done any cabled or color worky Petite Knit patterns, but all of her stockinette or garter stitch patterns that I have done, which I think I've done like 5 or 6 now, have all been very easy and straightforward. I also really like the yarn. I had no issues holding the yarn. I only had issues with this yarn on wooden needles, but once I put this project back on metal needles, super easy. It flew off. I think I finished it like 3 days after I mentioned it in my first podcast. So it's been off the needles for a while now, and I have had the chance to wear it, and I have to say it is really wonderful to wear. I've only worn it in, I want to say like low 70s, maybe like 72 to 75, low to mid 70 degree temperatures. But it has just been such a wonderful top to wear in those temperatures. I feel like it's breathable. I'm not too hot. I'm not cold. I just feel very comfortable, or I felt very comfortable wearing it in those temperatures. So I do think it will be, for me, like when it's the low to mid 70s, a really good staple. I think I just wore it with wide leg jeans and some ballet flats or like little black heels, and it was great. So I don't really have any issues with how it fits. I do like the tightness across my chest and the rest of my body. I think the armhole depth is perfect. It's not like up in my armpits, but it's not too low where like any like bra, like you won't have any like bra showing issues, which is always a concern of mine with knit tank tops. The only thing that I am not, I guess, super fond of is how narrow the top is. I feel like it just comes in a little too much on my shoulders, and I wish it came out a little more on the shoulder, just for a little more coverage. I also feel like, not that I have broad shoulders, but I feel that this style, like where it hits me on my shoulders or my upper body, like this area, my clavicle, I guess, is just a hair too in, if that makes sense. Like I could use maybe another 1/2 inch of knitting just to give me a little bit more coverage and to make it feel a bit more balanced on at least like my body shape. I don't know if anyone else has had that as an issue for them, but that's my only concern, or the only thing that I'm not like super fond of with how it looks on me. But it doesn't bother me that much because I have worn it a few times, and I will continue to wear it throughout the month of September when I can. But yeah, I loved it. I love knitting it. I love wearing it. I think it's a great little top, and I would definitely recommend that you knit this if you are looking for a little tank top. So that is my Ivy top by Petite Knit. And my second finished object today is a tiny little one, and that is this scrunchie. I didn't really follow a pattern for it. It's just this tiny little scrunchie here. Cute. I knit this little scrunchie up in, I think it's Hobby Mohair Delight in, I don't remember the color, but it is a 50% mohair, 50% acrylic yarn. Again, info will be on the screen here. And I don't know, I love it. I think it's so cute. It's super fun. Again, I didn't follow a pattern. I just knit up a little tube. I think I cast on like 80 or 90 stitches, knit in the round for, I want to say like 6 inches, maybe 5.5 inches. Cast off, flipped it inside out, put a hair tie, like just your regular like rubber band hair tie around the middle of the tube, folded it over on itself, and then just stitched the little cast off edges together to kind of get this like almost double braid look to it. I don't know if you can see. This yarn is not my favorite yarn. I don't know if I've talked about this yarn before or not. It's like random yarn I bought when I was first learning to knit, and it is icky on the hands. Like I can't hold it for too long without my hands feeling like yucky. But it doesn't bother me in my hair. And I will show you a picture of it in my hair. That'll be on the screen right now, hopefully. But yeah, I don't have too much to say about it. I know this was one of the things I wanted to knit or make in August or September, so I'm really happy I did. I think I'm really excited. I'm really excited to wear this on like a warmer September day when I can't wear a full sweater yet, but I still want to wear like a cozier knit item. I think this with like a button-down shirt or a t-shirt and jeans and like Birkenstocks or flats is going to be super cute. I don't know. I kind of love it. I think it's so fun, and it was addicting. It was so fast to make. I want to say it was maybe took me 4 hours at most. Like such a great, easy little knit to do. And it's just fluffy and adorable and charming. And I think I'm going to make a ton more. I think this is going to be my next like massive scrappy project, is just making, I don't know, a bunch of different scrunchies to match all of my sweaters. Yeah, not too much to say about my little scrunchie. I did find a free pattern on Ravelry that I think is great, so I will link that below. I found that after I made mine, but I would definitely recommend that pattern. It looks pretty similar to what I did, and I think it's free. So if you want a pattern to follow, I would recommend that one, checking out that one. I'm going to switch gears a little bit right now and talk quickly about 3 sewing projects that I've worked on or done recently. So if you are not interested in hearing about them and you just want to hear about my 2 whips, you can skip ahead to this time here. However, if you are interested in hearing about my sewing projects, I'm going to talk about these 2 first. They are made from the same fabrics. It is this one here, this like orangey print fabric. I think it actually might be orange pomegranates, I don't know. This is, I believe it's an old Liberty London fat quarter that I had laying around, and then I used this like really pretty burgundy Kona cotton I had from an old quilt that I made, along with, if you can see, you know, it's better here. This is just like an orange Kona cotton I had laying around. It doesn't exactly match any of the orange in the Liberty fabric, but it's the only orange I had. I wanted a green, but I didn't have a green, so that's what I used. I wasn't totally sure what I was going to do with it, so I just started by making like a quilt sandwich and quilting the entire Liberty of London fat quarter with a layer of like old quilting batting I had laying around, and then the orange Kona cotton. I did like a trellis type of pattern, I guess, or diamond quilted pattern. And then I decided, okay, I made the quilted sandwich, and I was trying to think, what should I do? And I had seen on Pinterest some people do like these super cute quilted Kindle cases that looked like envelopes. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try to do that myself. And I would like to practice my quilt binding. I've completed 2 quilts, and I've hand bound both of those with the binding, and it is probably my least favorite thing to do, but I want to make more quilts, so I wanted to practice binding. So I decided I was going to make a little Kindle case, so that is what I made here. So this first one is a little Kindle case. I do not have my Kindle right now, but it's just this cute little envelope that I just free-handed making. I didn't seek out any patterns or follow any instructions. I just kind of winged it. So I started by cutting out about 3.5 or maybe 3 1/4 a piece of the fabric. That is 3 1/4 lengths of my Kindle. So this is about my Kindle size. This is about my Kindle size. And this is about my Kindle size. I did a little bit of extra on the edges, and then I think I added about an inch to the width of my Kindle. So if that makes sense, I just had this one long piece of fabric that was around 3 times the length of my Kindle and about 2 inches wider than my Kindle. I then folded it up around the Kindle to make sure that I could have it cover the Kindle, and then I just stitched it down on the sides. So I kind of had this like swooped pocket, if that makes sense. And then I cut this like envelope shape to make it be like an envelope. And then I added the binding. I added these little ties. The binding is quite a mess, but I really don't want to go back and redo it. I really, really dislike binding, but I want to keep practicing. So my larger quilts will have nice binding, because the 2 quilts that I have finished and hand bound the binding is atrocious, and that is something I want to get better at, but I do not enjoy. So I was happy to have this little project to practice. But yeah, so I just made this little Kindle case, folded it over, add the binding, added these 2 little ties so you can tie a little bow, which I think is just precious. I just, sewed 2 little tubes, turned them inside out, and stitched them to the case, and I think it is just too sweet. I think this would be such a fun holiday gift or birthday gift to make for your friends. I am in a book club, and a few of the girls have Kindles, so I think I might make a handful of these cases for them for the holidays. But I felt like this was a really cute little fall-esque, autumnal kind of project or pattern. And then the second little case that I made is this adorable ruffle zipper pouch. I am obsessed with this. I think it is the cutest thing in the whole world. Again, I saw cases like this on Pinterest, I think mainly for laptops, and I was like, oh my god, I need one. It's too cute. So again, all I did is I just took the remaining quilted fabric that I had. I cut it in half. It was just 2 rectangles. Then I made a ruffle using this burgundy fabric. I added the zipper to the 2 quilted pieces. Then I turned them inside out, sandwiched the ruffle in between them, the ruffle facing in, sewed those together, and then turned it inside out, and I got this little case. And again, it is not perfect, of course. I didn't really follow a pattern. I just winged it. I saw online some people do have video tutorials of how to do this, and they do it with a lining, but I felt like a lining was unnecessary because mine was already pretty thick from the quilting. And again, I wanted to do binding, so I'm just going to turn this inside out to show you. Come on, there we go. So I should have probably done a rounded corner, but I did bind or add binding to the inside of this as well. This is what the inside looks like. Not the cleanest, but it's the inside, so it doesn't matter. But I added more binding to the inside, again, just to practice binding. I wanted to practice binding. And this project has actually made me really want to make a quilt with a ruffle along the border. I would really like to do that one day. I don't know how. If you know how to do that, please let me know if you've seen a tutorial or followed a pattern for a ruffle bordered quilt. Yeah, please let me know, because I think that would be just the cutest thing ever. And yeah, I haven't used this pouch yet. I don't know what I am going to use it for. It fits a bigger notebook. I could do a bigger notebook. Pencil case, maybe a travel makeup bag. Yeah, I don't know what to use it for yet, but I know it will definitely get some use. I want to show it off to everyone. I think it's so cute, even though it's slightly imperfect. These are actually my first 2. No, these are my second and third non-quilt items, if that makes sense. So I've only sewn quilts before, 2 quilts, well, technically 3 quilts, which you'll see in a second, the third, and a quilted hot water bottle case. So these were my second and my third quilted objects, I guess. So I'm actually really pleased with how they turned out, especially considering I didn't use a pattern. I will link similar patterns below if you are interested in making something like this. Next time I will be following a pattern for both of them, because DIYing, totally DIYing and winging it, I think they turned out great, but I think they could be even better if I actually followed instructions, because there's probably a few things I could have done to refine them a bit more that I just did not do with these. But yeah, I'm really, really pleased with how they turned out, especially because I wasn't just sewing in straight lines the entire time, which is what I'm used to. So yeah, these are my 2 little quilted Liberty fabric pouch finished objects, and I love them. I think they're so cute. My next finished object is a quilt top, and it's not going to fit in picture or in the video, the camera right now, but I'll hold up as much as I can. And this is my Home Street quilt by The Blanket Statement. I bought this pattern on Etsy, and I've literally been working on it for, I think, a year and a half. I, again, just don't have the space to quilt. So it is like a big to-do taking out my machine to work on this. But I figured that I kept my machine out for a few days. I was working on those projects. I didn't have too much left to do to finish this one, so I was just decided I was going to finish it. I still have some little stringy things on it I need to whatever. But this is it. I will insert a big video or picture here, but this is all Kona Cottons. Let me see if I can name some of the colors. I don't totally remember, but I have natural, I think I have rust, terracotta, chocolate, maybe sienna, I don't know. I'll include the color names down below and also the measurements of this quilt. I really have no clue what the dimensions are. I just know it's pretty big, but maybe it's like a double. I don't know. I'll include the measurements on the screen for what size I made. But this is my third finished quilt top, and I am just so thrilled with it. This project taught me the importance of ironing in between steps. I didn't really iron in between steps before, and wow, does it make a difference. You just get much neater lines. Your points actually get to a point, and I think you can see throughout this project where I started ironing, because the points are definitely pointier. Yeah, this was such a fun pattern to make. I chose all of these kind of fall colors because I wanted to live up in Vermont with my parents, where obviously I think Vermont is very well known for its beautiful fall foliage. So I think it'll be so beautiful up there in the fall to match the beautiful leaves and the changing leaves. I'm really proud of it. I'm really proud of myself. It was the first quilt pattern I had ever purchased and completed. All of my other patterns I've just kind of winged it like I did with those two little pouchy things I just showed you. I just would take fabric and cut it and sew it together and just make shapes, make a quilt. But this one I followed a pattern, and it was a very easy pattern to follow. I liked just knowing exactly how much to cut and of what size this was going to end up as. That was new to me and fantastic. So my next steps for this, which, I don't know, it's kind of a finished object because it's a quilt top, but it's not fully. It's still a whip because it does need to be quilted and finished. So I'm going to decide what color I want to do for the backing, order that, and order the batting fabric, the batting piece for the quilt sandwich, and obviously iron this again. It has been folded in the corner for a few days and got a little wrinkly. And then I'm going to hand quilt it, and I think I'm just going to do straight stripes up and down in an off-white creamy fabric, that kind of thread that kind of matches this fabric here. And yeah, I think hand quilting it will be really lovely. And I love that it's fully handmade by me. And I think hand quilting also, so the reason I'm going to hand quilt it, I think, is because it's something I can keep in the corner of the apartment and pick up and work on without having to get my machine out or a bunch of tools out. It's just there in the way that knitting is just there. So hopefully I will be able to make decent progress on this fall, because I would just love to gift this to my parents at Christmas time. Okay, now I'm going to move on to my whips. I only have two, and one of them I feel like I have what is, to me, some devastating news about. So I'll start with that. And that is my Snuggle Bunny whip. Now, I talked about this in my first podcast, and I'm making it for my cousin who just had a baby. and I'm planning on making a second for my friend who's having a baby at the end of September. I didn't make too much progress on it since my first podcast. I was like focused more so on sewing since I had the time to sew. But I brought it with me for the long weekend this past weekend up for Labor Day to where I was going. And something happened to it. It fell off of the needles. It began to unravel, or the majority of it fell off the needles. It began to unravel and it got kind of like a knotted mess. So I ended up deciding to fully unravel it. I did not say that. Fully unravel it and ball it back up again. I think I only maybe had like 1 more inch, maybe like 6 more rounds done from the last time you saw it. So it's not like horribly devastating. I am going to cast it on again pretty soon, but no. So my Snuggle Bunny, literally nothing to say. Starting from the beginning again, but that's okay. Sometimes that happens, right? Sometimes we are working on something and something does not go according to plan, or it gets messed up. I think, I'm glad that it was this project and not the other project I'm working on, because this one I feel like is not more low stakes, but it is a smaller, easier, slightly less involved project than the other one I'm working on. So yes, I will be casting that on again soon and hopefully finishing it. I really want to send it out for my cousin to have for her little baby, because her baby is, I think, about a month old in just a few days. So not that a baby would use this right away, but I would just like her to have it. I think it would be a nice thing to have. So that is my Snuggle Bunny. That is no longer, but soon will be again. And my second whip is my Toffee sweater, which is I'm making kind of inspired by this Baba sweater I think I talked about in my August and September knitting plans. And so far, I only have the collar. I have, I think, 1.5 inches or so left, but this is what I've got. I am knitting this in Knit Picks Woolen Cotton in the color Bear, which is a creamy white, and the yarn is a 50% wool, 50% cotton blend. I, right now, am knitting the Toffee sweater in a size medium. However, I might switch to a large later. I'm not sure. But as far as I've gotten, the size medium and the size large have the same numbers. So I will decide what size I'm going to knit once I get to the point where I need to decide that. But so far, so good. I am currently working on the collar. It started with a Judy's Magic Cast On. So I found casting this on, the Judy's Magic Cast On. Cast on, beautiful. Went so well. Was so easy. Then I started knitting. It said, okay, knit down one side and knit down the other. And I was going and going and going, and I probably got about this far, but they weren't joining. So I don't know if you can see. They are kind of, the way you knit is like a magic loop, and they kind of cup, the stitches kind of like curve around and it cups up, cups together. You can see it's like a little pocket, like a little hot pocket, a little pita pocket. And I was not getting a pita pocket. It was not pita pocketing the first time I tried it. So I said, okay, I'm going to rip back and I will try again. I tried again, and it was just completely flat. It was knitting flat, and I had these massive ladders going like in this part where it should be stitching up as like a column. It wasn't. It was just these giant ladders. And I did not quite get what I was doing wrong. I, ripped it all out, started again for a third time, and it finally started coming together on the sides. It took a while. It took maybe 7 or 8 rounds for it to kind of make the pocket shape. But it finally started going together, and now I have this. I don't know what I was doing wrong the first 2 times I tried it. I still don't know, but I found a lot of videos out there show you how to do Judy's Magic Cast On, but they don't totally explain what to do next. They would show me the cast on, okay 1, okay 2, and then boom, they have the finished collar or finished toe sock box, and I was just lost and confused and unsure about what I was doing right, what I was doing wrong, what I needed to change. So I think I'm going to make a video of me doing Judy's Magic Cast On a smaller project, and doing it in real time, so that could hopefully help anyone who is also like lost and confused like me, because I just felt helpless and thought this was going to be the worst project ever and wanted to stop it. But I'm so glad I didn't, because I'm loving it. I am loving how this yarn knits up. It is so squishy and just delicious and lovely. And it is really, really pretty. I think the rib is just beautiful. And yeah, I'm very, very pleased with how this is going. It is a bit of a slow mover. It's a slow burn. I am afraid to pick it up, I found, because it is white, it is cream. I drink coffee, I eat chocolate, I love raspberries, so I'm always having these little stainy foods on my fingers, and I will wash my hands like 5 times before picking this up because I don't want to stain it. I make sure I'm in like clothes that I was not wearing while I was eating. I'm just, very afraid to get a stain on this before I have a chance to wear it. So I think that's why it's a bit of a slow move. I did not want to bring it on the train with me this past weekend. I don't want to bring it with me on public transportation. It is purely an at-home, after dinner on the couch, kitchen is closed for the night type of knit for me. So it is going a little slowly, but that's okay. I still think I will finish it pretty quickly. And as I said, I'm I think an inch or inch and a half away from finishing the collar, and then once I finish the collar, I get to start the body. So very, very excited for that. So yeah, this is my toffee sweater by Clarissa Shalong, or Cozy Knits. And I think that is everything for today. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I did want to say that I think I found a upload schedule that works for me. I am planning on doing a knitting podcast video, kind of updating you on my finished objects and whips every other Wednesday, and I will be uploading a shorter, probably 20 to 30 minute video every Saturday that is non-podcasty. So it could be a project vlog, a pattern roundup, talking about knitty things. I don't know, just not chatting about what I finished or what I've worked on or been working on recently. So again, that's every other Wednesday for my knitting podcast, and every Saturday for a regular video. And again, thank you so much for watching. Bye.